The freedom of the open road. That's what van life is all about. But true freedom goes beyond just the destination. It's about having the power to choose where you park and for how long. That's where having a reliable power source comes in, because at the heart of your off-grid van life is electricity. It keeps your lights on, your devices charged, and lets you run essentials like air conditioning or a heater. But traditional lead-acid batteries just won't cut it for van life. They're heavy, they don't last long, and they can limit where you can comfortably camp. That's where Battle-Born Batteries comes in. We're going to show you everything you need to know about lithium battery systems for your camper van, how they work, and the upgrade they can bring to your camping experience. With Battle-Born, you'll have the power to get out there and stay out there. So buckle up, because we're about to unleash the potential of off-grid van life. We all know the frustration of dead batteries in a camper van. No lights, no power, limited freedom. That's where lead-acid batteries, the traditional choice, fall short. Lead-acid batteries are heavy, have a shorter lifespan, and don't discharge as deeply as you might need for extended off-grid living. They also require more maintenance, like topping up water levels. But there's a better way. Lithium batteries offer a whole new level of power for your van life adventures. Here's why lithium reigns supreme. Lighter weight. Lithium batteries weigh significantly less than lead acid, giving you more cargo space and better fuel efficiency. In fact, for the same amount of usable power, you're at 1/5 the weight. Longer lifespan. Lithium batteries also last significantly longer than lead acid, saving you money in the long run. You can expect over 10 years and 3,000 to 5,000 full cycles when using high-quality lithium batteries. Deeper discharge. Get more usable power out of each charge with lithium's deeper discharge cycles. Lead acid restricts you to just 50% depth of discharge, where with Battle-Born Lithium, you can discharge your batteries down to 0% with no damage to the batteries and no memory effect. Faster charging. When combined with the right components and system design, you can recharge your batteries up to 5 times faster thanks to lithium's superior charging capabilities. Low maintenance. No more topping up water. Lithium batteries require nearly zero maintenance. There are many different types of lithium-ion batteries out there, but for camper vans, we focused on the safest and most reliable option: lithium iron phosphate, or LiFePO4, or LFP for short. Lithium iron phosphate batteries offer inherent thermal and chemical stability, making them the safest choice for deep cycle applications like powering your van. They're also more resistant to potential damage from shocks or vibrations, perfect for life on the road. We mentioned lithium is the way to go for camper vans, but even within the lithium world, there are differences. Not all lithium batteries are created equal. Sure, some lithium batteries might offer some of the advantages we discussed, but for true proven reliability and peace of mind, you need a Battle-Born battery. Here's what sets Battle-Born batteries apart. American design and assembly with extensive quality control. Our batteries are designed and assembled right here in the USA, undergoing rigorous quality checks to ensure peak performance and lasting durability. Premium, tested components. We don't compromise. We use only the highest quality, tested components to build our batteries. Unique features for optimal performance. Our batteries boast innovative features like Advanced Battery Management System, or BMS. Our batteries feature a state-of-the-art proprietary BMS designed specifically to work in perfect harmony with our cells. This system protects your battery from a wide range of threats, including overcharging, over-discharging, short circuits, and extreme temperatures. Superior cylindrical cells. Unlike many competitors who use easier-to-assemble prismatic cells, we utilize high-performance cylindrical cells. This approach maximizes safety and reliability. Even if one cell fails, the others can keep your system running. Additionally, each cell is equipped with a safety burst cap to eliminate risk of thermal runaway. Secure flag terminals. No more broken bolts or weak connections. Our secure flag terminals ensure easy, reliable connections for efficient power transfer throughout your van's electrical system. Internal heat management. Battleborn offers an optional upgrade to internally heated batteries. You can use and charge your batteries in cold weather conditions down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit for discharging and as low as 25 degrees Fahrenheit for charging. Using this built-in heater enables expanded temperature use by automatically turning on to heat up your battery cells before approaching those temperatures. Dragonfly Intelligence. Our cutting-edge Dragonfly Intelligence communication technology is another optional upgrade. This system allows you to monitor your entire battery bank's health, including individual batteries, in real time from your smartphone. Flexibility in design and mounting. Our batteries come in a variety of form factors, and they can be mounted in any orientation to fit any van layout. Third-party certifications and listings. Our batteries meet the highest safety and performance standards, backed by third-party certifications and listings. Unmatched customer support. Most importantly, we're here for you. Our dedicated technical support team is always happy to answer your questions and help you get the most out of your Battleborn battery-based power system. When it comes to powering your van life adventures, you shouldn't settle for anything less than the best. The van electrical system is made up of more than just a good battery bank here. You've got other components in the system that help you bring in energy from different charging sources and also to allow you to discharge to different loads. On the charging side, you've got 3 main charging sources. One is the alternator. Here, we're using a wakespeed bi-directional converter. You can charge with multiple different components when you're talking about alternator charging, from small DC to DC chargers, a good bi-directional converter like this, or directly off of a second alternator, allowing you to get the most high energy charging into the system. Next, we've got a Victron solar charge controller. That's bringing in energy from the panels in the sun to help charge the battery bank. Your third charging source is from shore power. In here, we've got a Victron Multi-Plus inverter charger. That will help us to charge from any sort of shore power source, 15 amp, 30 amp, 50 amp service. You get to decide what that charge limit is. On the discharge side, that same component will also power your 120 volt loads. That inverter needs to be sized appropriately to allow you to continually operate those 120 volt loads without overloading the inverter. To wrap it all up, we're using a Lynx distributor, which is a bus bar system, essentially making for a clean installation. And to monitor the whole thing, we have a Victron BMV712, which is their shunt-based battery monitor, to help you give an overview of the net charge and discharge of the system. So now that you know lithium is the way to go, it's time to unlock the full potential of your Battleborn battery system. But before you jump in, it's important to understand your power needs. Are you a high-power van lifer needing to run a coffee maker every morning and hoping for extended air conditioning runtimes? Or are you more minimalist, content with reading and using a laptop? Knowing your energy usage and habits is the first step to calculating your daily amp-hour requirements. Here's how to figure it out. List your appliances. Make a note of everything you plan to power, including wattage ratings and estimated daily usage time. Do the math. Multiply the wattage of your appliances by the number of hours you want to run them each day. This gives you watt hours. Divide watt hours by 12 volts and you're left with amp hours. Amp hours is the adopted rating for Battleborn batteries. Add them up. The sum of the energy required to run all your listed appliances will give you a good estimate to the total amp hours needed. Note, it's good practice to include a buffer on this total to allow for any unexpected additional power requirements, in addition to low voltage cutoffs on system components and component inefficiencies. Consider your space. Now that you know the ideal battery bank your system requires, take a look at the space available for the system within your van. See if you need to modify your expectations. Now that we have a better understanding for the size of battery bank that's required for your system, you need to determine what voltage of the battery bank you're going to go for. Battle-born batteries can be connected in series and parallel for 12, 24, up to 48 volts, no higher than 48 volts. Now there's benefits to each type of system. 12-volt systems have a lot of benefits on their own in that they're relatively simple, low voltage, a lot of components are available for that build already, and it's what most people have done to date. As you step up in voltage, 24 and 48 volts, you also get some other benefits. But to have a higher voltage system, you need to introduce new components in, like our bi-directional converter or step-down converters to run native 12 volts, because although you're getting a higher voltage battery bank, you're always going to have those 12-volt loads. So with a 48-volt system, which is kind of the push in which the industry is trending towards right now, you get into using perhaps some specific 48-volt appliances like 48-volt air conditioners and other 48-volt appliances that can eliminate your need to put those loads on the output of the inverter. So now you can free up a lot of that usable space on your inverter for other appliances that aren't yet ready to transition to 48. Think of your cooking appliances, induction cooktop, microwave, coffee pot. You can now dedicate all of that freedom of your inverter for those loads, running 48-volt specific appliances directly off the battery, minimizing efficiency loss, making the most of your battery bank. If you take a look at all of your loads that you put on your load worksheet, you'll notice that some of them are direct DC loads that can run directly off the battery bank. Others require an inverter inverting to 120-volt alternating current, which is your household power that you have at home. Think of all of the combination of components and loads that you wish to run on the output of the inverter, add those up, and you get your continuous maximum output rating for your inverter. Most people will install a 3,000 watt inverter, but for those heavy power users, you might want to look at using two 3,000 watt inverters, a 5,000 or heck, even a 10,000 watt inverter. But your load demand does get pretty high with that rating of an inverter, so that's another reason why you would migrate towards a higher voltage system. With alternator charging, you open up a lot of different options and selections for how much energy you can put back into the battery bank while driving. There are small DC to DC chargers, combination bi-directional chargers, or advanced second alternators that can be installed, all to which help charge up that battery bank when you're driving down the road. Before we dive into what a user may want to monitor in their system, let me talk a little bit about what our Battle-born batteries does on the inside. Each of our batteries has a battery management system built in that serves a couple different functions. One, it's going to provide discharge limitations in the form of continuous current, 30-second surge current, and even a half-second higher surge for perhaps motor startups like an air conditioner. It also has protective features for high temperature and low temperature, high voltage and low voltage for over discharge, and also short circuit protection. Each of those ratings are actually specific to the size batteries that we have, so each BMS size will have its own particular ratings that you can find on the data sheet or in the manual. As we start looking at ways you can monitor your van system, you're going to start looking at kind of the basics, moving into more of an advanced graphic visual. At the very least, you're going to want to know a couple different data points. You're going to want voltage, current, perhaps a calculated state of charge. What's left in the tank? How much energy have I used? And how much do I have left? So at the very least, you're going to want to have a shunt-based battery monitor. In the system behind me, there's a BMV712, which was a Victron shunt-based battery monitor. That's going to give you voltage, net current coming and going from the battery bank, and will calculate that state of charge percentage, telling you have 25, 50, 75% left in the battery bank, allowing you to make decisions about whether or not you should charge, or do you need to make that extra pot of coffee. Getting a little bit more advanced, perhaps you're going to use something like a Victron Serbo GX. A Serbo GX is kind of like the epicenter of the communication and the monitoring for your Victron system. What it does is take data from all of your Victron components, battery monitor, solar charge controller, inverter charger, and it will kind of put all that together and put it onto a visual screen, whether it's a touchscreen display or through remote monitoring via the web. As we get into the Battle-born with Dragonfly Intelligence, we start looking at more ways we can monitor our battery bank, pinpointing areas where there are problems, perhaps loose cable, imbalance. That intelligence system will be able to directly tell you where there's an issue and what you need to go do to solve it. So by this point, you've probably started to dial in all of the components you're going to use for the system, different size battery banks that you're going to want to have to meet the energy demands that your specific van requires. Now you're going to want to start putting it together. Make sure you use a bus bar. Bus bars promote clean installations. Make sure that you appropriately size your wires. One mistake a lot of people do is they put in too small of wires, putting resistance into the system. Now their chargers prematurely enter different stages. You're not getting a full battery bank. Make sure that you sized your chargers appropriately so that you actually get that full charge. Lithium iron phosphate batteries like to receive that full charge to maintain optimal performance, so make sure that every now and again that battery bank is getting topped up. Lastly, if you do over discharge your batteries, make sure you charge them up rather quickly. Here we have the Victron touchscreen getting the information from the GX system. So the Serbo GX from Victron receives all the information from the Victron components and displays them nicely up on the screen here. Our top left, where the solar wattage would be shown, typically would give us a wattage value if we were outside, but today we're inside the studio. So we've talked a lot about the main components that you'll have in your van system, but there's a few that I want to highlight that might look a little bit different to you than the standard systems you've seen from us in the past. So first, of course, we've got our Battle-Born batteries with Dragonfly intelligence. This is our entrance into a smart battery classification. What that's going to bring to you, the end user, is for some, it's going to allow you to have a Bluetooth battery and we can get rid of that external shunt. For others, it will be a fully integrated system where we have CAN communication, speaking from the batteries to other components in your system, potentially speaking to the vehicle chassis, and a lot more. So this opens up a lot of capabilities for us to have a good closed loop system. Nice thing about our intelligence batteries is that everything is actually aggregated together. So you're not just Bluetoothing to each individual battery. You are communicating with the Dragonfly Intelligence Hub, which is a communication hub that aggregates all of the data from all of the batteries in your system to give you an overview and help you pinpoint any nuances or problems that you have in the system. It will be able to tell you where the issue is at and why it happened. Another component that we have in this system is our high energy charging DC to DC converter. So it's a 12 volt to 48 volt bi-directional DC to DC converter. And that is the silver component that we have back here above our wakespeed regulator. So that converter, it's an intelligent system with the wakespeed Pro, and it actually manages the relationship between your 12 volt chassis and the 48 volt house bank. So it has two modes of operation. One, it will charge from your 12 volt chassis to the 48 volt lithium bank when the vehicle is running. Secondly, when the vehicle is off, it will actually step down to support the 12 volt chassis system, because we don't need to have a separate 48 to 12 volt step down converter with this bi-directional converter. We're able to connect all of our 12 volt loads to the 12 volt chassis, and the WS500 Pro and bi-directional converter will monitor that chassis battery and make sure that it has enough support and supplement to run those 12 volt loads without killing your starter battery. A bonus feature of the bi-directional converter is that the converter has the potential to help supplement power to start the engine. At maximum output, it could provide about half of the power required to start the van. So if you have a weak or dying starter battery, we're actually able to support that like you are in many RV installations. So controlling that converter is our WS500 Pro. You may know us from our WS500 wakespeed regulator that is commonly installed as an alternator regulator for a second alternator on a van, or perhaps maybe in a marine environment. With the WS500 Pro, we're actually able to monitor and also configure it wirelessly through Bluetooth. So you're not needing to plug in with a USB cable anymore to program it with your phone. You can just wirelessly do it like I am right now. So if I go into the app, you can see the vehicle is actually not running right now. So I am in 12 volt support mode. So in the 12 volt support mode, the 48 volt battery bank through the converter is actually supporting your 12 volt chassis battery to maintain a particular preset voltage for your starter battery, helping to maintain those 12 volt loads connected to the chassis battery. Along with that, it's not only going to help support your loads, but it's going to help support that starter battery as well. Even if you didn't have 12-volt loads running at all, this system is going to make sure that your starter battery is set at that predefined voltage. By default, it's set at 12.4 volts, but you have the ability to change that to whatever you'd like. Not only will it make sure that your starter battery doesn't die and maintains that voltage, the converter can actually support up to 50% of its max rated output to help start the engine. So on that note, you're not going to be left stranded. If you're out in the middle of nowhere boondocking and you happen to leave your door open and your dome lights are on, which would typically drain your starter battery, this system will actually support it and make sure that you're not stranded so you can drive away. Right now, there's about 2 amps of 12-volt loads running at this moment, so our converter is supporting that from 48 volt down to 12 volt to make sure our starter battery doesn't die. Could you start it up? With the vehicle running, an ignition signal is sent to the WakeSpeed Pro, and it tells the system that it can start looking for changes in the starter battery. Once it sees that the starter battery has raised to an optimum level, it will start charging from 12 volt to 48 volt. It has a 3000 watt capability, but you're always going to want to dial that in for the specific alternator that you have. This van has a 220 amp alternator, so I would feel comfortable running this charger at about 110 amps, which is 50% of the capacity, but you can fine tune that based on your specific alternator needs. Imagine having the freedom to explore wherever your heart desires without worrying about running out of power. With a Battle-Born battery system carefully designed for your van's needs, that dream becomes reality. In this video series, we open the door to the exciting world of lithium batteries for your camper van. We explored the benefits of lithium, introduced you to the unique features of Battle-Born batteries, gave you a roadmap to calculating your power needs, and demonstrated how to properly monitor your system. We know you have more questions. That's why we created a wealth of resources to guide you further on your van life electrical journey. Visit our website at battlebornbatteries.com to check out the Battle-Born Academy page. It's packed with invaluable information to help you through your power journey. With Battle-Born batteries, the open road awaits. Get out there and explore.